Looks like we have a quorum. Call the meeting to order at 6:00 p.m.
Second, if you need it.
Thank you. First up all, thanks so much for pulling the summarized recommendations together. That was a huge help. And then also some of the research. Alyssa, thanks for sending that along since the last meeting. So I think the goal for today is to run through the list of 12 recommendations that we have, and I think narrow that down. I kind of have a goal of somewhere around 8 in mind as a somewhat digestible length list. And then I think I really liked one of the reports that you sent around, the format of that with the recommendations and then when needed some supporting narrative and some context around them. But I would envision our report coming out sort of in a similar format in the future to that one. I thought that worked pretty well. I think maybe one thing I would add would maybe sort of an executive summary page that just has the recommendations, and then you go into them a little bit more to get some of the narrative on following pages. Any other comments from anybody before we dive right in?
Has the meeting been called to order?
Yeah, that was 6 o'clock exactly.
Okay, great.
Need an executive summary for a report that's going to be 2 to 3 pages.
More even, I was just thinking when I first envisioned it, it's like, okay, here are, so I suppose it'll depend on how much narrative is required as we get into it. But I was thinking just kind of so it'll fill up 2/3 of a page, just the recommendations. I think having that all in one place, a numbered list of all of our recommendations in one spot on one page that you can flip to and see and print that one page, I think could be helpful. So it would be duplicative with the body of the report, but that's sort of what I envision, really, so you could kind of have that one page, print it, and see them all in one spot.
We see how long the report is. Once we get the report done, then we can see if it needs an executive summary.
Yep, that's just sort of how I was envisioning it up at sort of first glance once I was seeing things, but agreed. Great. So I think we have the 12 items. So I think maybe we can just sort of go through and vote on them. But as I looked at that, sort of what I would say, I'll just put some of my thoughts out first before we go through. I think there were a couple that we could probably combine. Some are kind of like the parking and access sort of things. I think there were a couple that could be combined into one. And then there were a few that I think sort of fell into the category of kind of maintenance, ongoing maintenance. So I think we kind of combined the text of some of those, that could get us down to 10 or below sort of right away. And then Alyssa, in the report that you sent out, it had a section of, so here are the voted on recommendations, and then there was another one that was kind of other things that we are thinking about, but didn't necessarily elevate to the point of kind of a formal recommendation. And there's kind of a summary section of those in one spot. Like these 12 on here, I kind of like them all, but I think a little bit of a prioritization and putting them into kind of different sections of the report, I think would be my preference.
So, Evan, what are you thinking? So, like maintenance, but what would be your, if you will, subcategories, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think like 9, 11, and 12 could all fall sort of into one. So it's
Did you put them together by any chance, or? Do you have a draft?
I've not done that yet, no. Would it be helpful if I share the screen, or does everybody have it?
Yeah, can you share, Evan? Thank you.
Definitely 4 and 5 if you want to keep those in, but those are both parking. So we could put those together.
Are people now seeing it?
Yeah, we can see it. Can you make it a little bigger? Or I have to put my cheaters on. Thank you. Great, thanks.
That's what I wonder.
Yeah,
Um, I was thinking 11 and 12 and 9. To me, right, so maintenance on the boat ramp, trash receptacles, portable toilets, and erosion control, so you can sort of see all of that kind of lumped into one. Carl, yeah, then you mentioned 4 and 5, those were
Was this,
the,
we can combine it, parking.
yeah, kind of a
vehicle
parking
control.
access, vehicle access, something like that. That was the other combination that I had, exactly.
So that would bring it down to 9
Yep.
total.
Well, if we combine 4 and 5, then we combine the state and with limiting access or limiting parking on the state road or patrolling that to the one about the neighborhoods. And we were sort of saying that those are different authorities. So if we want to vote for one and not the other, by combining them, we would
Yeah,
vote for all of it.
actually, I kind of have a question about, like, at the end of each one where you kind of put who you think is responsible. Why is that? What were you thinking there, Carl?
That's what we've always had in the spreadsheet is who's responsible for what task.
And in the
Because-
charge,
I don't know that it's necessary, and I think it's kind of confusing, because I think there are some times where it's not, maybe the organization named isn't the right organization. I mean,
I think
we're
was
we're
also-
recommending this to the select board, so they're gonna decide who does what.
in the
I think-
charge, it did ask us to specify responsible parties. That's, I believe, why Carl put it in there.
Well, yeah, I
It
mean,
was
this is just a
also
format of
modeled
the
after-
spreadsheet from the start.
yeah,
You know,
it was modeled after one of the other ones that Linda sent to us as an example,
All right.
one of the other committees.
So, starting with the first one, support the deployment and maintenance of the APOD. So right now, there's a CPC application from the NRC. So it would go to the CPC and then to town meeting. But the support, so you're asking the support from the select board to support the deployment and maintenance of it. It's not the town of Concord. I mean, we're asking the select board to support it. Right?
I mean, you guys want that level of specificity down to the particular committee or people, or do you want just down Concord?
Well, all of
I
it's
think
town of Concord.
I like the town, I personally like the town of Concord because whether it's CPC or whether it's put in the budget like it was this year, it's the town, right? Select board
Well,
can recommend things to the town,
Aren't they
but
all town?
the town funds it, not the
Aren't they
select
all
board.
town?
I don't know. We'd have to go through them.
I mean, yeah, there are some specific things like Concord Police or Department of Rec, White
Good
Pond Task
topic.
Force. So it's a mix, but yeah, most of them are the town of Concord. Yeah.
You know, for example, on 4, enforcing the parking laws on the state access road, I mean, it's not the Concord Police. I still have a problem with that one because it's, if the state, they can't go on to the state police, to the state boat ramp to do something. That's not their property.
I don't know. Do we want to get in this level of detail? Do we want to move on to prioritizing this stuff?
Well, I just think they're all really town of Concord, and so I don't see the point, basically.
Okay.
So you're saying, take off town of Concord because they're all town of Concord?
Right, we're making a recommendation to the select board, and they're gonna direct, they're either gonna do it themselves in terms of supporting something or directing an organization within the town to do it. The only other one is that thing about the reorganizing the town's White Pond information, number 8, which has White Pond Task Force, and we're not gonna do it. The town website, that's gonna be the town outreach person. So that would be the town of Concord person as well.
Yeah, so I know that the charge certainly did say identify persons responsible,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there is a little bit here that it is kind of pretty much a blanket statement, so maybe we sort of give a general at the beginning, and this applies to, here's a list of recommendations for the select board in the town to consider.
It makes more sense to me.
There's only a couple spots where we specify.
Okay. We want to vote on it? Yes, no? To be honest, I don't really, doesn't make much difference to me. Whatever you guys want to do.
I'd be going, because I think, again, I hesitate to get into that level of specificity. I think that's, but I do know it is mentioned in the charge, so, maybe we kind of do a blanket comment prior to the recommendations, something like that.
Okay.
So we'll take them off of each recommendation. We'll take off town of Concord or Department of Rec.
I think so, and then, if we're doing some narrative and context on one, we could say, we would anticipate that this would fall under so-and-so's jurisdiction, maybe.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
All right, so, should we run through the list real quick here? And just get final votes on them?
Well, with the objective of we're gonna just try to get down to 8 or something, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think, so I think we've talked about combining 4 and 5 and 9, 11, and 12. And so we can sort of take votes on, I think all the other ones will be standalone, and then we can take votes on all of them. And I would imagine this will go pretty quickly, because I think all of these have been discussed over the last few weeks.
Yeah, but if we all, what I'm saying is if we all decide that, 9 are great, we're gonna have 9 on the report. Which I'm fine with, but I'm just saying, we're not gonna try to limit it to 5 or 7 or whatever.
I would, I would be okay at that 8, 9, but I
Okay.
guess that's sort of up for vote if.
Evans,
others-
Evan, what's your rationale for decreasing the number?
Right, so to the extreme, if we had 30 high priority items on there, then, that's tough to focus on what they really are. So I think the fewer number, the better, without leaving important things out.
And you think the 12 is unmanageable?
I think 9 is better.
I mean, I come from the corporate world. If you're over 3 things, nothing gets done. So I'm in agreement. The less is more. But yeah, so 9 sounds good. Want to do less, even better.
Yeah, I got no problem with it as long as they are the same. I mean, they combine reasonably, saying the same thing. So
Yep. Okay, so let's, number 1 as is, again, for all these, taking the owner of the action item off of them, and we'll cover that through other
Yep.
ways. Number 1, all in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
All right,
Opposed? Okay.
Beth,
Uh,
I didn't hear anything from you.
I support.
Okay.
Number 2, continue testing of water quality to assess swimming safety. All in favor? Aye.
all right.
And opposed?
And the reason only is because of the language. I think what we're looking at is, I would support continued the bacteria testing that's required and is appropriate under the Mass Department of Public Health regulations, but I think it should be reevaluated on a annual basis.
Understood, and I think we discussed that at length and voted on that the other night, so.
Yeah, so I just want, if we're gonna be able to have a minority opinion on there, that's just why.
Thank you. Number 3, support funding of the Conservation Ranger Program focused on compliance with the town's conservation land regulations with increased ranger and or police time at Sachem's Cove on hot summer weekend days. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
All right,
Opposed?
6. Okay,
Numbers 4 and 5, I propose combining. Maybe exact language to be determined, but something like enforce parking laws on the state access roads, surrounding roads, neighborhoods, and other pond access, including checking White Pond membership at the parking lot. And I'll probably leave it like that.
Yeah, you know, that one really is one where the Department of Recreation would have to do it, right?
For the
Yes.
White Pond membership, yep.
Yeah,
But for the state road, that's not there.
Yep, so I think we could put that in some context and narrative below the recommendation in the report.
okay.
All in favor of the combined 4 and 5? Aye,
Aye.
all right.
I,
and opposed?
Aye.
Number 6,
Can I go
Uh,
just go back to the reason why I'm opposed? One, well, several reasons. One, on the state access road, I don't think there are parking laws about the state access road. 2, I don't know what swimming off the state boat ramp has anything to do with the ecological health or scenic beauty of the pond. And I think enforcement rather than encouraging good citizenship is poor Concord behavior.
thank you for those comments. Number 6, as written, support and improve public outreach. All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
Aye, yep.
and opposed?
I'm opposed.
okay,
Number 7, continue to evaluate the stocking of rainbow trout due to impact on phytoplankton and potential increase in cyanobacteria blooms. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I,
I'm in favor. I will say, and based on various data, I mean, it seems like the whole fish thing is more, you know, it sounds like there's a lot of different opinions. So I don't know if we want to say stocking or we want to focus just on rainbow trout. Because it sounds like there's a lot of different opinions out here in this scientific community, if you will.
Yeah. Well, the rainbow trout was the one thing, right? But also then I forwarded you guys, I know late minute, but I'm at work, you know, how Dr. William Walker and John Higgins, your discussion with John and Nancy and people we hear from stocking in general, if it's stocked at traditional levels and the water temperature profiles have changed, and if the fisher people are less than they used to be in years past, I haven't lived there long enough to know that, but that's what I hear from fisher people we talk to and the neighbors. I think fish stocking numbers in general might be something that if the future should be looking at, because if the
Right.
fishermen aren't fishing them out, there's another problem, right?
Yep.
Not just the rainbow.
Well, are we encouraging the fishermen to come enough at this pond? But I think there's been efforts to discourage the fishermen. It's kind of funny because, you know, if they have a stocking program, you want to encourage the fishermen to come and fish them out. And
Yeah.
I don't
How have
know
they been
that-
discouraged, John? I mean, at least.
I mean, I
Yeah, I
guess
haven't heard
I would talk to the fishermen. They said there'd been signs up in the past. They had to get the environmental police out just to give them access.
I've never heard that.
Well, you ever talk to fishermen?
Yeah, I did. We actually went a couple years ago and talked to people around the pond because we had heard that the amount of fisher people around have really decreased over the years. I don't know why. I've just been told that.
I'm really kind
And-
of surprised to hear that because in West Concord, at least, there's a big increase in fishing amongst the youth in Concord, and it's a whole fishing club now at the high school. And whenever I've been out at the pond chatting with the fishermen, they haven't noticed any decrease. They still talk about fishing it out quite rapidly after the fish are stocked. They wait for that date that it's going to be stocked and rush out there and fish.
Of course, the first 2 days they go crazy and just like could catch them with nets, but that's, you know, the first couple days, Alyssa. And anyway, I guess,
I don't think they use nets.
if we
Yeah, I
want
have
to,
heard them do that.
they absolutely have. If you see when the stock, they come a lot the first couple days, and that I have witnessed. So maybe the wording, Carl, you just mentioned, I don't know. I think,
You want to say rainbow trout and other fish, or do you want to? I don't want to
I
belabor
think
this,
it's-
but
I really wonder if we want to question the state's program of stocking. I mean, you know, they stock the ponds where there is the habitat available for the trout. You know, you can argue about whether they should put in non-native species or not, but they do. It's not against the law. It's their program. And there's people that like to use the lake in this way to, you know, to fish them out. I mean, it's may not be what you like or what I like, but it's kind of the state's program. And for the town to say, you know, to tell the state to quit, you know, based on
It's
some
not
sort of
quit.
science, I don't
it's
really
not quit. It's just one kind, and they do other lakes with other
I mean,
kinds. They don't stock
actually,
every single lake with
in
rainbow.
all those papers that you sent us out, I didn't see anything about the rainbow trout. I mean, one of
Yeah.
them was like introducing zooplankton that had been raised in a laboratory and that manipulated the cyanobacteria. You know, I mean, I don't think their science is really behind.
well, they did say the rainbow trout goes after larger phytoplankton than other
Yeah, it
species.
absolutely did say that. So, well, we're not all in agreement. That's clear. So why don't we, Evan, can you just start again and let's take the vote and see where we're at?
All in favor of number 7? Aye.
Yeah, we
Aye.
still do it. Yeah.
Aye. And all those opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Right.
And I would like to, you know, for sure be able to write something about that issue.
Yeah.
In our report.
And let's see, number 8, direct the reorganization of the town's White Pond information to one town website with links to other White Pond organizations. So this is one
Actually-
that I could see sort of sliding to, kind of other recommendations or other things to keep in mind personally.
You know, that was feedback from Anna way back, you know, the Department of Rec. That's confusing. You know, she didn't know what Friends of White Pond was. She didn't, you know, she just felt that it was confusing. You know, reports on the water quality of the blooms or there's various sites. So she was saying that it made sense to me. We have one site and it references every other site related to White Pond. Because it is a little confusing.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's what I've noted, you know, people on this call, you know, particularly
Right.
Alyssa has been a heck of a lot better than I've been at tracking down information on the. She certainly
Right,
knows
and I
the
think-
website a lot better than I do.
You know, I wasn't really opposed or in favor of it before, but the more I think about it, I'm opposed only because, as we know, there's lots of different aspects to managing the pond, and there's going to be lots of different information coming from different sources depending on who's doing what. So I don't really see how there can be one White Pond test, one White Pond website. I mean, it will continue to be some activities related to the recreation department, some for DPW, some from the NRC, some from Friends of White Pond. So, I mean, there will be different activities going on. They don't make sense. They don't fit into a website.
Well, the intent was to have one website and you could have URLs for all those you just mentioned, Alyssa. That was the intent. So you have one-stop shopping.
Yeah, but as I said, I guess the more I think about it, I don't support that because I don't think it will work. I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm okay leaving that one off personally. I'm not.
I am
opposed
too.
to it, But I'm okay with deleting it.
Me too, Beth, as well.
I'm fine with that as well. So all in favor?
Of deleting?
I guess all in favor of keeping. Has been the syntax.
That would be me. Just one.
I think I would vote to keep it.
And all
Okay,
in
so
favor.
2 in favor of keeping. And 4
Removing,
delete.
I,
Aye.
and then the next one is sort of this maintenance category, so a combination of 9, 11, and 12. So some maintenance activities, including erosion controls on town-owned lands, deployment of trash receptacles and portable toilets, extending the season, and funds for the DPO for maintenance on the boat ramp.
Can somebody explain quickly the funds for the DPW? What was that for?
So the state bait ramp, the DPW was unaware that they were responsible for maintenance of the infiltration system and the trench drains and the catch basins that are out there. And then they became aware of it, but it's not in their budget to maintain it.
So,
And
listen, my
so-
understanding, the primary maintenance requirement is cleaning out the catch basins. That's my understanding. Is that right?
The catch basins, the trench drains, and the infiltration system, and disposing of the material once you remove it.
So they're going to do that, or they aren't because they don't have funds?
Well, I don't know where they are right now. They were not planning on doing it because it was not in their plan or their budget.
Right, so that's one I think, and so those are technically on state land, right? And so I think this is one that,
But the order of conditions, the order of conditions stated specifically that the town of Concord, the DPW, was responsible for the ongoing maintenance of the infiltration system because it doesn't work unless you maintain it. So
Right.
that is in the order of conditions.
How could that have happened that was, such a big project? I'm just stunned to know they weren't prepared to do that.
Well, if you recall from our meeting with Alan, he didn't know at the time, and then I sent him a copy of the order of conditions where he was explicitly listed.
So do we know for sure that has anybody inquired with Steve Dugan or somebody else if they've asked for that to be included in the budget moving forward? Because if it is, then it's just noise for our report.
I have not.
I think having it sort of as a kind of sub bullet almost under this maintenance category. I think it's just keeps it on the radar.
Okay,
For number 10, you know, I've always been asking that we focus on a few septic systems that are near the shore on the north side rather than make.
John, can I ask just to hold this for just a moment, just until we vote on the 9, 11, 12 combination? So,
I
all in
see.
fa- all
I
in
thought we were
favor-
doing 10 also, okay.
Yeah,
9.
sorry, yeah, 9, 11, and 12, 10 is a separate one. So, so this maintenance category combining 9, 11, and 12.
Well,
all in favor?
nine isn't really the same as continued maintenance. I mean, that's something different. I mean, 10 and 11, you could say, you know, support the town departments for this, but 9 is something really, it's a different kettle of fish.
I sort of see it as kind of ongoing things that need to get taken care of down there.
Why is that an ongoing thing as opposed to deployment of the APOD, which has happened for several years and will happen next year, or the continued testing of water quality? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Is there a strong opinion to keep 9 separate? So all in favor of keeping 9 separate from 11 and 12?
I don't feel strongly.
You know,
All in favor of combining 9, 11, and 12?
I'd
Aye.
go with it, yeah.
But one caveat, I'm gonna send an email to whoever it is in charge. If we can remove some of the wording, if they're keeping that in the budget, I'll just email us all, because then it will be less busy, you know, combining them all.
Thank you.
Thank you. So all in favor of keeping the combined 9, 11, and 12 with a potential edit from Beth? All right,
Yeah.
I
all opposed?
Let me say I'm opposed so that I can write up something with the reason for why I don't think 9 should be included. I think it should be considered separately.
And John, I didn't take down your vote.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
Okay, number 10. Support the update of the townwide wastewater management plan, including a review of the potential for sewering septic systems on the north side of the pond.
Yeah, this is what I was saying, that we should restrict it to those few septic systems that are near the shore on the north side. I tried to add that in, but it never seems to, you know, to make it to the statement that we actually vote on.
So if we added for sewering septic systems near the pond, if you added near the pond before the word on, that work?
Or
Even for sewering
A
nearby
few-
septic
a
systems.
few
on the
septic
north.
systems that are near the pond shore or something like that.
Okay.
But John, didn't you specifically have some kind of evidence that it was the one side, the north? I think you've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah, the north.
Yeah, so
Leave
you
that
want
in.
that north in, right?
Yeah, so I think he wants the north, he just doesn't want something on the north that's 3 miles north, right? So I
Okay.
think, what if we said, support the update of the townwide wastewater management plan, including review of the potential for sewering nearby septic systems on the north side of the pond, put the word nearby in there.
Well, nearby what? So
Okay, for sewering.
near
septic
shore.
that are nearby the north side of the pond, near the shore of the north side of the pond.
Yeah.
So for sewering septic systems that are near the shore of the north side of the pond.
Right.
All those
I'm
in
okay
favor?
with that. I,
Aye.
I,
I'm good. But I just want to get the verbiage again, say that one more time, Evan, so.
So for sewering septic systems near the shore,
Near the North Shore or near the,
shore on the north side of the pond. Probably not winning any Pulitzer prizes, but I think it gets the point.
So have we need to vote on that one?
Yeah, so, we may have, all in favor? Aye,
I,
I,
and opposed?
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I think we're done with our recommendations.
great.
So let's see, so next we need to work on the drafting of the report. So I don't know, how do we want to handle that? We could schedule a next meeting or take some action items prior to the next meeting.
I think somebody's got to come up with a draft.
so, Evan, the future White Pond thing, not to, I don't mean to derail your thing, but I'm fine with that, but I just want to make sure we're good with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So is that,
Yeah, so maybe let's do missions, I think.
and the other thing, missions, I mean, I put that in there, but you know, like, Jennifer's introductory, paragraphs covered some of that. I just want to make sure that they understand this is something to be managed between, you know, preserving it and providing it for enjoyment, much like a National Park Service mission, you know, but it doesn't have to be called a mission statement if you want to put in the verbiage.
Yeah, I think we actually voted on that last time, so I think we all
Yep.
agreed on that, so I think we're good there. And I think we actually voted on White Pond team.
What does that mean with the 24, 25 in the beginning? Do you mean it just for the year? Is that what you mean?
You know, I put that in just as that's the future. So next year, next 2 years, but you want to say future?
why don't we, could we say
rid of it.
establishment of a White Pond Committee?
No, I think you should just take rid of the 2024-2025.
Well, I think this is a recommendation, right?
Yes,
Why is it separated?
because it's future, I guess. You know that there's gonna
Well, this was a sort of a specific, specifically called out in the charge. It was the recommendations, kind of pressing priorities, and then this was sort of a second one, this governance body. It's a separate part of the charge, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, so I don't care about the years. It's the future. We want it to be
Yeah, I'm
an
fine with-
ongoing committee.
Yeah, I'm fine with just taking the years off or putting establishment of either one. I think it says the same thing.
I like establishment because it's gonna be a newly created group, right?
Okay.
I don't like establishment because I'm not sure it's going to be a newly created group.
What, if we're recommending it, we're recommending that it be established.
No, you're recommending that there be a White Pond Committee structure to be determined to meet periodically.
And how's the word established not fit in there, Alyssa?
What if an existing committee took on their same responsibilities?
I don't think that's what we're recommending.
Yeah, it's not us. It's, you
I
know,
think that's
to be
what I'm
determined.
recommending.
I thought last time we voted that we did want a White Pond specific committee to exist.
Agreed.
We did,
I don't think I agreed that there should be a White Pond Committee specifically. I I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't believe. it was
No,
a
you didn't
unanimous
vote, yeah,
vote,
unless I
but
think you voted it down, yeah.
Alright.
We'll have it in it'll be in the minutes, but.
Well,
Uh,
Well, it's
you're,
gotta be in the
you're
report,
saying,
just minutes.
Evan, are you saying there was a 3-2 vote last week? I wasn't there.
Or
Yeah.
I think, yeah, 3-2 last week.
Okay, well, you can vote again with me here and have 4-2 if you want.
Okay,
do we want to, so let's definitely take the years out.
okay,
Kind of a capitalized White Pond Committee or establishment of a White Pond Committee, to me, it's the same thing
Yeah,
that needs
I
to
don't care, yeah,
by White Pond Committee.
I'm okay with either wording.
same here.
Same.
Okay, so let's just take the years out. So, White Pond Committee, structure TBD, to meet periodically as a coordinating body with the goal of continuing the White Pond Task Force charge and mission, reporting to the select board. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed?
Opposed.
How many opposed do we have?
One.
Okay. Do we need to vote on whether we're going to include examples of the signs that I emailed out? 'Cause I don't know
Great
if
signs,
other
but
people
I
are.
think there's. Sorry, I think they're great signs, but I don't know that, I. I think that's probably gonna be handled by maybe the Trails Committee of the Natural Resources Commission.
Right, I'm not saying, I'm just wanted to include that as an example, because it's not, and it's not, everything in that sign doesn't necessarily apply, but. I think it might be helpful to have an example of what we're looking for, and the natural resources people may be the ones to come up with the wording. Or, as you said, the Trails Committee. But I thought it would be helpful to have as an addendum.
No, I think it's good, Jennifer, I agree.
Yeah, so I think that's where I would envision in the report, if there's any kind of narrative or context, examples could include something like this and have the photos there in the report.
Yeah,
That's
I think it
sort
could
of
help.
further explanation of the recommendation.
Yeah, of what we're asking for, and for instance, it's not just no swimming or stay out. But something educational about, why, and how to protect the animals and plants.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we need to vote, or is everybody on board?
Yeah, I don't think we need to vote on that. I think that'll be part of the drafting process of the report.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so, so I think just trying to think of what the most efficient way is to draft the report.
So, Evan, I think I talked to you about this, or maybe Jennifer. One thing, it's up to, we can all decide. One thing that I remember the White Pond Advisory Committee did when creating the vision is kind of like start with something, and I know Jennifer's and Carl have penned the beginning of that. And then we sent it to, one by one. We decided the order kind of, and each person added or changed. So everybody had a chance to kind of review it. And then we took it to a meeting and voted on it, with red lines, track changes. That's one way. That worked well for us. That's one idea. I don't know if anybody else has ideas.
I like that. I think sort of one other thing is, as we look at our final list of recommendations, is if somebody wanted to, people could kind of pick a couple of the numbers that they think they have some verbiage for, to write up some of that supporting verbiage, and then that could kind of break up that. So not one person's doing that entire first draft.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, so, I mean, again, I'm used to really brief documents. I mean, you put an intro paragraph on this is not enough, we're saying. So each number you want supporting verbiage, like why, like for example, under APODs, you want a paragraph on why APODs work kind of thing? Is that what we're saying, or?
It just as needed, if there's some, all right, so like number 6, have pictures of potential sample signs. Or types of signs we're thinking about.
Could we put those as an appendix or something? Because I think you don't want a lot of noise around the recommendations, right? You want them to read it and get the points. And then we can say, see, for, examples like, permanent signage. These are some examples like the pictures Jennifer had.
You could have that as an appendix. But the reason I sent around that Estabrook Woods one is because they were things that were, there was maybe a sentence explanation on some of the recommendations that were unanimous, but on ones that were not unanimous, there was an extra sentence or two explaining the minority opinion. The short paragraphs, but something.
I think that'd be a good way to do it.
Can you repeat that, Alyssa? I'm not sure if I understand
So
that.
the Estabrook Woods report, when it listed recommendations, for the ones that it was a unanimous opinion on, it just listed the recommendation, sometimes with another sentence or so. For ones where there was, minority opinion, there was an explanation, a sentence explaining why, and then an explanation sentence on the minority opinion, why it was not agreed upon.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
They were short paragraphs.
Yeah, I don't think I would vote on that for that way, because I just think it's noise. It's not, Shannon explained to us, things people, you vote just like the select board votes and you
Well,
move
what you
on.
said is that Shannon said we only have to write the minority opinion, but I talked to Donna McIntosh after that, and she said, yeah, you only have to, you can do whatever you want. And so that's why I was saying, I think in all fairness, that to get the full sort of report of the task force, that we should represent all the views presented.
Yeah, that's not what I heard at all, so I would disagree, and maybe we should take a vote on this.
Well, I think we're discussing general formats. Again, I think that, like, I looked at that Estabrook thing, it's just way too long. I don't have the attention span for that. Most people don't, especially busy people. To me, it should be, as they say in the FBI, bluff, bottom line up front. What we're recommending, no noise about anything else other than what we're recommending.
Yeah, I agree. I think as concise as possible, one voice, here's what the committee majority decided on.
Well, would you support a submit a letter accompanying it saying that not all of these recommendations were supported by the board as a whole?
Unless you can send a
perhaps
letter
minority
separately if you
opinion
want.
as an appendix?
If you want to send a separate letter to
Well, no,
citizens.
as a letter to present the report in there saying, this is what the task force said, but not all recommendations were supported by everyone, or as an appendix, minority report.
I think that just dilutes things.
I would not, I don't think it's implied anywhere that it's unanimous. But this is what the committee came up with. And we'll see how the votes come out.
Some of these things are, particularly the rainbow trout thing, is just kind of nuts. So, to say that we're supporting it really goes against the grain with me.
Yeah, so I think we're just saying supporting the evaluation, continuing the evaluation. So I think we've heard a number of differing opinions. That's sort of where I am on that, but we've taken votes on all of that.
I would like to, have a dissenting comment about it.
Yeah, I don't personally, for me, I don't think that's the goal of the report. I think to have one concise voice. Here's what the committee decided on is what I would like to see.
I mean, that's not the way, that's not the way it went down, so I don't think we should present it that way, that we're all, we have one opinion on it.
The report will state in there, the methodology that the recommendations are based on the majority vote.
No, I think that's fine. Give it to the select board and, they can, do what they
If you
want.
guys want to send a separate letter, go for it.
I don't think it's helping your cause any. So,
What was that?
as I said, I mean, I think not to present a full perspective of the task force is not helping support future management of the pond. I don't, that's my perspective.
Should we pick a date for the next meeting?
Well, Evan, do you want something I mean, do we want to, what are we doing? So,
I mean, I think
we
someone's
want-
got to draft, I think you got to come up with a way.
Right, we gotta-
Someone's
we-
got to draft a report.
When we get the recommendation, that's the meat of it, right? So that's good. But I mean, again, I'm a very simple sales guy, so I would very briefly embellish this a little bit, but that's me. And I'm not the team here, so
For instance, are we gonna have what the, whether it was unanimous or not, or what the votes were on each item,
Typically
in
not.
our report?
that's in the minutes.
The minutes are not relevant. No one's going to read the minutes. So I don't think that's important. If you're going to show that there was differences of opinion, you could say, yeah, 5-0, 6-0, 6-2, after each recommendation.
I think the minutes are really important and that's why we take them.
I don't
And
think,
that's
I
what
don't
you
think the
read,
select board is going to get into the meat of the minutes.
Well, actually, they report as our liaison, some of the things from the minutes. And that's what the select board does too. They have minutes. They don't put every minutia into their, into their reports that they're writing. I mean, we can take a vote on it, Evan. I think based on what I talked to with Shannon, it's to keep it clean, simple, short. And we can vote on that even. But for the process, we were just discussing the process of the report itself. Does
The format.
it sound like an idea to start like with what Jennifer and Carla put together and then just, send it through the ranks?
Yeah, I like that.
Would you want to meet again and go over every sentence?
Well, I'm still struggling with, like, we can't respond to emails or something because it's not a town meeting, but I mean, yeah, we could take Jennifer's intro, combine it with this, and Jennifer and I can get together quickly and do that and for everybody to review, but we're not allowed to respond to the emails or something, or I never
Well,
quite
that's why we
understood
did
that.
it. Yeah, that's why we did it one by one, Carl, because you can't have the whole board, I guess.
Well, you
And so-
can't do it sequentially either. That's still deliberating by email.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we were just redlining.
Each person could redline their
That's what I
own
meant.
and send
Yeah,
it to the
that's what I
committee.
meant.
But you can't sequentially go. You can't
Oh.
sequentially.
Okay, well then there goes that idea. I thought that was okay.
Well, again, Jennifer and I can kind of, already reread each other's stuff. We can combine them. I mean, it'll take a couple minutes to do that, but and send it out to everybody.
Yeah.
I guess that's a question.
Yeah, why don't we do that and then everybody can send it back to you, I believe, right?
I'm volunteering you, Jennifer. That's probably not nice.
I'm happy to help out.
But,
Thank you.
and then, but so then we get together again. I guess we that's the only way we can do it.
Or
That
we
sounds
could
like
have the scores on each one or not. I mean, if, to say that, you know, people can go through to the minutes, I think is ridiculous. We're already saying that, you know, we've got too many points here to be considered by busy people. So are we expecting that actually they'll get all through all the points and go to the minutes too to find out what the details are? I mean, come on.
I think again, you're affecting the impact of this if you start diluting it. You're talking about 5-1 scores. I mean,
Okay,
I'm
so
not
why
talking
don't-
about me losing my number 8, you know?
So let's do Jennifer and Carl will send out a first pass and then we will all redline and send back to them.
Yes,
That's okay. We can do that.
that's okay.
Okay.
All
Let's do
right,
that.
and, are we going to meet the deadline, December 31st, 2020? Is that the goal? To get this done?
That's
I'm-
the
I'm-
goal.
I'm out of the
Okay.
country starting the 28th, so you have to figure it out after that without me, man. But
Okay, so, so then when, between now and the 28th, we have to meet? Right? Or am
So-
I wrong?
Right, so,
No,
so,
so
yes.
what? So we send this thing out, then we get red lines individually. Then we incorporate those. Can we incorporate those and send it out again, or is that
Yes,
we can't do that?
I think you can, and then but we have to.
But we don't
have to
know
just
if we
vote on
agree
it.
to them. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think we can probably do a few things right now before we hang up. Maybe we do talk about the structure and vote on it. I think, Evan, you kind of outlined what you thought it would look like. There's this, and Carl, you know, or Jennifer, there's this kind of introduction. That was the charge, the
Yeah.
mission statement that you already have out there. And then just say, this is the White Pond Task Force has, whatever the word we want to have, voted on the following recommendations. And then there's an appendix with maybe some examples for some of the things like the signage. And that's it, right? Short and simple. So they
I'm
can read
totally
it.
good with that. Unless people have specific things they want to add to some of these that we should include just in the interest of time. But yeah, the signage is one we can include. If there's other stuff.
Yeah, so then it should be a short meeting, right? It's really, the big work is done. Your recommendation list now is really the big thing. That's the deliverable.
Yeah, that's the meat of it for sure. Yep. The rest is
Okay.
icing or flowers or whatever. they
Yeah,
are.
don't put too much icing on the cake, right?
Yeah, there you go. Well, just cake. Okay.
So for the
So-
minutes, let's have a vote on the format for the minutes. As I said, I'm proposing that we have a report that includes a discussion and a minority report on recommendations that were not unanimous.
You're saying to take a vote on that right
Yes.
now? Okay.
Yes, so that it's in the
Okay.
minutes.
Is there
All
a
right.
second?
So you're saying you want to vote to have the minutes the report to include
minority
minority?
Yes,
I do not support.
I don't
I'm
support either.
opposed.
that was a motion.
No, I'm opposed. I think we should take a vote.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the
Okay, good.
motion. Is there a second?
thank
I
you.
second it.
Okay. So all in favor of including the minority opinions in the report? Aye, say aye.
Aye.
And all in favor of not having minority opinions in the report, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
John, were you gonna vote or
I did vote.
oh, you did? Okay.
You voted yes?
I'd like to include the minority positions in.
I'd like to make a motion that we include the votes, number of votes on each recommendation in the report.
I second that.
All those in favor of including the votes within the recommendations in the report.
I don't know what that means.
So you, So
At the end of each, at the end of recommendation number 3, it'll say this was voted on and is included by a 6-0 or a 3-2. It'll show what the tallies were. Okay, so all those in favor
I,
Aye.
and all those opposed? Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
I,
Okay, so Jennifer and Carl will do a first draft, send it out. We'll send back red lines. Should we pick a date prior to the 28th for our next meeting?
I just need to get on my calendar.
Evan, what they, you saying the 20th or what? Or
So for
Did
me,
you, I didn't catch it. Is that what you said?
no, I did not. I just said prior to
Okay.
Prior to you leaving the country.
Well, you don't need me. I'm good.
Yeah.
My government
Okay.
career is quickly coming to an end. I can see that. So, um,
So 18th, 19th, or 20th, I can do.
The 20th, I'm in the air. But doesn't,
I can't do the 18th, I can do the 19th.
I'm good with the 19th.
19th for everybody,
What time?
6 p.m. again?
I can do
Mm.
6, I can do 7.
either's okay with me.
That's the 19th at 6 p.m.
do you guys mind going an hour later? I'm more likely to be able to attend if we do it at 7. 'Cause
7 p.m. 's
I'm
fine with me.
at that time, I'm a 3-hour time change. Thank you.
Yep. So 19th at 7 p.m.
All right, thanks.
All right.
All right. Is there any public comment? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, third.
Meeting adjourned 7:03 p.m. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.